Okay, so we're going to continue talking about forgiveness. And in this episode, we are going to look at what forgiveness is and what forgiveness is not. I think knowing what forgiveness is not is equally as important as knowing what forgiveness is. So, forgiveness is basically like releasing somebody from a debt that they owe you. That's a very simple way to look at it. It's the releasing of a debt. And as you know, some debts are greater than others. So, on one hand, you might have a $5 debt, something that somebody has done to you that's really not that big of a deal. You can let go of that pretty easily. But in a lot of cases, we're working with things that are more like $1,000 or sometimes even $10,000 debts, and those ones can be a lot harder to deal with. So, the definition that we use of forgiveness looks like this. Forgiveness is the intentional and voluntary process by which a victim undergoes a change in feelings and attitude regarding an offense, lets go of negative emotions such as vengefulness, with an increased ability to wish the offender well. So that's the definition that we're going to be working with. So I hope that you can get really familiar with it and get comfortable with it so that you can work through the whole process of forgiveness, just like this definition talks about. So forgiveness is a choice. That's the first thing that this definition talks about. It is where a victim, so yes, we are totally okay with saying that you have been hurt or wronged by somebody. You are a victim in this, and that's okay. It's okay to be a victim sometimes. It's not okay to stay a victim, but it's okay to be a victim. So as a victim, you get to make a choice. And the first thing that you do is you choose to change your feelings. And what will happen is as you start to change your feelings, you will start to change your attitude. And as your attitude starts to change about this offense, this thing that has happened to you, you're going to start letting go of negative emotions that are really trapping you. And that's what negative emotions do. They keep you stuck. So as you start moving with the change in feelings and attitude, then what naturally comes after that is you start to let go of some of the bitterness and the vengefulness that you've been carrying around. So really good and really positive things. And where you finish up is wishing the offender well. So that's what forgiveness is. So it's like releasing somebody from a debt where you go through this metamorphosis. It's important to talk about, I think, what forgiveness is not, because I know that I carried around some misconceptions about what forgiveness was, and I'm hoping that I can clear up some of them because you might be having some of the same ideas that aren't truth. So here's what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not condoning what happened to you. It is not excusing the person. It isn't saying that what they did is okay. It is not forgetting. You know, there's that saying, forgive and forget. Not true. And how many times have we heard that? Forgive and forget. Forgetting isn't necessary. It's not necessarily a part of forgiveness. You can forgive without forgetting. And here is a really big one. Forgiveness is not reconciliation. So reconciliation is a restoration of friendly relations. That's what the definition of reconciliation is. The other definition of reconciliation is where you take views that are not compatible and make them compatible. So reconciliation and forgiveness, it doesn't necessarily mean that your views are going to be compatible with the person who's wronged you. Totally acceptable, totally okay. So next time we're going to talk about the two different types of forgiveness. The first one is called unilateral forgiveness, and the second is transactional forgiveness. So I'm excited to share more about those two things with you. And in the meantime, hopefully you can work through some of these forgiveness things, changing your feelings, changing your attitude, which will change the releasing of the emotions and will get you back to feeling so much better. Because remember, forgiveness is first a gift for you.